I'm so excited to be here today with my good friend, Robyn Lee, who is editor of the blog at CatholicMatch.com. Welcome, Robyn.
I'm so happy to be here.
Yeah, I'm thrilled you're here on The Gist with me. Now, first of all, for readers who might not be familiar, maybe you can just tell us a little bit about what CatholicMatch.com is.
Sure. Catholic Match is the largest online dating community for Catholic singles, and we focus on faith-focused dating. So how do we do that? We have profile questions that focus on family and faith, and we even have a temperament test where members can learn more about themselves and know more about the person that their match is and deeply get to know them a little bit deeper.
Okay, that sounds great. I mean, I think a temperament test is probably a good thing for anybody, but I liked how you mentioned that it's faith-based. And in what ways does Catholic Match incorporate the faith in that search for your Catholic match?
Sure. Well, we have 7 questions that talk about the tenets of the faith. And some people are like, oh, well, you know, I wish that you're labeling me as a certain kind of Catholic, but that's not the way it is. It's knowing where people stand and knowing we have questions like, what is your favorite prayer? What is your favorite song? And you can get to know people in those intricate ways, and knowing that, oh, here's this connection. I love this song or I love this prayer, and it connects people so that you can know whether your first date would be successful or not.
Oh, that sounds great. And now I like how you're talking about getting to know people and getting to know yourself and making connections, but you also mentioned family, and that's not immediately what comes to mind when you're talking about single life. But why don't we talk a little bit about that, because I know I've experienced it in my own life, and perhaps you have too in your life, where singles and families can really, I mean, singles all are part of a basic family, but then they're friends who have families of their own. In what ways can they interact and kind of support one another?
Definitely. Well, I come from a big family, and I have 5 sisters and 1 brother, and I have 27 nieces and nephews, and so I have a great opportunity to help families. So how is that? So when a family has a lot of kids, maybe a single person can offer to watch the kids so mom and dad can go out for a movie. And then another way, I think that single people have a really awesome opportunity to make kids feel special. So how do I do that with my own nieces and nephews? Well, maybe it's just taking them on an ice cream run. And if they're not local, then maybe send them an awesome care package with dinosaurs or, you know, race cars or lots of candy. And then the other way around, how can families help singles? Well, if you see maybe a single person in your town doesn't have family nearby, or maybe they don't have family at all. And if they're sitting by themselves at Mass, some people feel a little self-conscious about that. So ask them to sit with you. Ask them to sit with you at Mass and come over.
I'd love to have a single come sit with me and wrangle some of my kids sometimes.
I have this wallet that has all of these pockets, and I have all these little cards, and I keep every card, so the wallet is super thick, but for a 3-year-old, I say, okay, take out all of the cards, and they take out all the cards and put them back in, and it keeps them occupied all through Mass. But not only that, but you can have them over for a barbecue and really help each other in that way. Singles need families, and families need singles, and not only that, but older people too. Older people like to share their wisdom, and I think that singles have an opportunity to really build and support families.
Yeah, I really like that. I mean, singles have a really unique place in the church. I mean, some of them don't want to be single and don't intend to be single, and they might be just for a temporary time. But then some people who are married will find themselves single through widowhood or divorce. And so I think that it's really nice to look at the church in that way, where we're all different members and we serve different roles in the church. Have you experienced that in your own life as far as, you know, perhaps your parish life?
Definitely. I think the dynamics of a parish life are so great that, like we talked about, you know, that we all support each other in that way. And we, not only that, but instead of singles being like, oh, when am I going to get married? When am I going to start my life? That singles can think about it as, what is God asking me to do right now? And, you know, there's perks to marriage. There's also perks to being single. So take advantage of those perks of being single and really truly discern what God is asking you to do right now. Is God asking you to take a pilgrimage to the Holy Land? Is God asking you to do a missionary trip in Haiti? Is God asking you to start a Theology on Tap ministry in your community? Is he asking you to get your master's? You know, there's all sorts of possibilities. So I encourage singles not to sit back and wait, but to take advantage and to start their life right now.
Yeah, I think that's excellent advice. Actually, it's excellent advice for anybody, because I think a lot of us have that tendency to kind of plan for the future and put things off in that way, and just really focus on what God's calling you to do right now. But you mentioned some of the challenges. Now, what are some of the potentials for conflict? Because I know I've experienced in my own life from having gone from being single to being married and trying to maintain friendships with girlfriends or sisters who are still single. And what are some of the potential conflicts there?
Sure, I think singles have a tendency to be insecure. I'm not married, you know, everyone in culture is married and I'm the only one who's single. For example, one of my good friends just had a baby and it's like, oh, everyone's having babies and I'm still single. But I think it's important to be confident in yourself. Know that you are a son or daughter of God and that you have true dignity. Having said all that, just practical things too. You know, I went to the dentist and the dentist is like, oh, so who are you dating? And I'm like, oh, I can't even. I can't even escape this question at the dentist's office. But, you know, Uncle George or Aunt Carol, everyone's going to ask that question. And just remember that when they're asking that question, they're asking because they truly love you and they want you to be happy. So if you're intimidated by that question, then have an answer ready. Maybe it's something playful. For example, what I said to the dentist was, well, do you have anyone for me to meet?
Oh, I love that.
Or if it's a family member, maybe you could say, well, are you praying for me?
Okay.
Pray for me to meet someone. Pray for me to know God's will and to discern the right way so that I can do what he wants. Or just to have some little practical answer that every time you're not being offended or not defensive, but just here it is.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
I love how positive and open that is. And I want to thank you for bringing your positive, open spirit here to The Gist, because I've really enjoyed our conversation. And very quickly before we go, can you just remind people where they can find Catholic Match?
Sure. Find our resources at catholicmatch.com/blog.
All right. Thank you so much, Robyn.